All my ex-girl left me must have mad out now, watch her. All the fake friend them when me they have. Father God, you know what you do. You make me go by myself and go rich again to blood clot. If they did rob me, then they want to kill me, watch her. Couple of money, a regular day. You still not call me, but what me can't answer. I don't answer no. No fake, no blood clot. All my ex-girl now is supposed to be dead. You better go hang. Move your thinking, blood clot. You have money, man. You have money.
Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz, news and entertainment with a buzz. Video that you saw at the start of this is of popular YouTuber, social media personality, I say social media influencer, influencing the youths to do a whole bunch of FUCK array. Now people, you see the amount of money that this man have? Those are real cash. Don't know, wasn't there to count it myself. However, when you stack up money, money against money versus money against paper, showing off with just money at the top or money at the bottom, it looks a little bit different. Those are stock just like you get them from the bank, just like you get them from Western Union. Any one of those money remittance companies. Now, people, here's a problem with all of this. This youth's name has been calling up saying that he's a chopper, saying that he's a lottery scammer, saying that he's involved in all sorts of illegal activity. Illicit means money. However, he will forever do the same thing over and over. He has been stopped. His premises, house, where he lives, apartment, Airbnb, have been searched by the police on several occasions. However, it seems as if he has not learned. Now, I don't think that the police is going to be his biggest problem. The problem is out here is that Jamaica is the epicenter of bad mind, envy, and covetousness, especially when you're out here stunting with millions of dollars, which that is, and then there are persons that are hungry, that are evil, that don't like persons with success and worse, want the money that they see other persons with and think that they are entitled to it. And when they come for you, because more than likely it is going to be some sort of friendly fire, somebody that you know that set you up, that call the wolves on you, then they will also take you out. But this youth won't take heed until he is taken out. I have spoken about him. Several other bloggers have spoken about him on several occasions. However, it seems as if it won't make a difference because it is always hype over common sense, always stunting, always self-snitching, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is that we see that the JCF, police, hierarchy, commissioner, justice, security minister, Andrew Holness is catching heat from an incident that took place in a Cherry Lane where a 22-year-old was 22 at the time he met his demise, was taken out by the police, in which they claim it was some sort of shootout. However, the video evidence showed the polar opposites. We saw that Indicom came out and they're asking them, imploring them, please to wear these body cameras. We saw that Jamaicans for Justice, the same thing, very concerning, in excess of 200 persons losing their life at the hands of the police. It was about 130. It is now about 230 since the start of the year. Increase of about 77%, meaning a whole bunch of more persons losing their life under questionable means. Well, people, there's a next group that is also giving them a backlash, and this is Stand Up Jamaica. And this lady is giving them a piece of her mind and saying that, hold on a minute, with all of what is going on, don't you want to take away any sorts of doubts? Erase all doubts without a shadow of a doubt that the police is doing their job. Why don't you wear these body cameras? I want you to take a look at exactly what the person, the representative, have to say from Stand Up Jamaica, and then I'll give my piece.
The human rights group has expressed alarm at the sharp rise in police-involved fatalities in Jamaica and at recurring reports that body-worn cameras are not featured during critical interventions. The organization highlighted data from Indicom, which has reported that 230 people have been fatally shot by the security forces so far this year. This up from 131 during the similar period last year, which represents an approximate 76% increase year over year. The data further indicates that September alone has seen at least 20 fatal shootings, marking the 10th consecutive month in which 20 or more people have been killed in encounters with state agents. Executive Director of Stand Up for Jamaica, Carla Golotta, says these numbers are not just statistics. She says they speak to lives lost, families devastated, and a deepening mistrust in institutions meant to protect public safety. She says in the case of the fatal shooting of 22-year-old Jamar Ferguson in Clarendon on September 15, media reports and CCTV footage show him opening his door with hands up, yet he was subsequently killed. Given these imperatives, Stand Up for Jamaica has called for the mandatory activation of body-worn cameras during all police interventions, especially operations in which force may be used. It adds that officers should not have discretion to disable or deactivate these cameras during interventions. Stand Up for Jamaica also joins Jamaicans for Justice in petition for legislation to mandate the JCF to use body-worn cameras, requiring their mandatory use and deployment during planned and tactical operations.
Now, people, you and I know without a shadow of a doubt that there's been a delay. It seems as if the police, for some sorts of reason, insist that they don't want to implement these body cameras and the whole network just to safeguard the community, safeguard the residents and citizens of Jamaica, and also make the police look more credible. Meaning that whatever operation that they go on, they will have these body cameras to prove that there is a shootout or if it was injustice, meaning extrajudicial. Definitely, they don't want that, obviously, because that is why they are putting up so much resistance. So we see say Indicom, we see say JFJ, Jamaicans for Justice, and now Stand Up Jamaica is giving them a backlash. And they are saying, well, we hear the High Commissioner of the Police claiming that them have 1,000 cameras coming and the network is set up so everything is good to be implemented very, very soon, just like they told us that Jesus was coming soon. We are still waiting. Well, most persons. Now, even with the concern of the time delay that it is taking so long, and we are getting desperate based on the amount of controversial extrajudicial takeaway by the police. So one of the points of contention that most of these groups have, meaning Indicom, meaning JFJ and Stand Up Jamaica, is that they don't want cameras in which the police can switch on, switch off when it is convenient for them. They don't want them to be able to manipulate the audio or video on any of these things. But people, the truth and the fact is that knowing the JCF, meaning the corrupted cops, even if they implement these body cameras, meaning make it mandatory that they have to wear it on operations mission, you're going to hear all sorts of story. Oh, me forget to turn it on or turn it off, or it drop and broke, or it get lost in the mission, and me can't find it. All the while, they are going to fling it in the bush, destroy it, run over it, mash it up with sledgehammer. People, when it comes to these police, I don't know what is wrong with Jamaica. I don't know what is wrong with the justice in Jamaica, but these police, the JCF needs to get a hold of the situation because the situation is very bad. And if it keeps going the way that it is going, you're going to have a whole bunch of persons, meaning innocent people, losing their life, and the community and the country is going to start to revolt or rebel. Promise you that, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is an update of a buzzing topic all over social media is that model from Jamaica, her name is TYRA Spaldings, that took away her own 3 points. She really used a scarf and then take it to the furthest extent. Well, since then, there's been a whole bunch of videos that she has posted on her YouTube channel. Those videos used to get an average of a couple of hundred, 1,500 maximum. Those same videos have been 30,000, 20,000, 40,000 since she met her demise. So we see people really care for her purses after they are gone. And that is exactly the point of contention that she had. She felt as if the world was against her, and people like me say she felt entitled as if things were supposed to be easier for her, which it is not so. The fact is that Jamaica is a very rough place, and most persons living in Jamaica is having an even harder life than her. So therefore, persons are not going to play the sympathy card or even sorry for her. So the mother made it abundantly clear that she was spending most of the time secluded in her home, in her room, locked away. She would come out and eat, use the bathroom, but that was the extent of how the mother would see her. So I'm going to let you take a listen, take a look to exactly what the mother had to say, and then I am going to give my piece.
We used to talk and so, and she refused. She was just locked away in our room from morning till night.
Would she come out to eat? Use the bathroom?
Yes, you would say her come and eat and go to bathroom. And eventually she keep doing that until she just stop. So when we realized the time and she didn't come out and we didn't start the entire day, we asked somebody to take off the lock.
So the door was locked?
Yeah.
Now, this is TYRA's room, and her mother told us TYRA spent most of her time in the room, locking herself in, coming out only periodically to eat or to use the bathroom. Her mother says her room is usually well kept. No, it's in total disarray, which could give an indication that TYRA was suffering from serious depression. Did she try counseling from anyone professionally?
Yes.
So was she going to counseling?
No, not at the time.
But has she ever gone to counseling before?
Yes.
Do you think that helped?
No. Probably what it needs to know.
Did she say why she stopped going to counseling?
Oh.
And for that person now, Mom, who is out there again on the brink of doing something like this, your message as to that person as someone who is going through this, again, what would you say to that person?
The worst thing you can ever do. Because the ones who we leave behind are devastated.
Now, people, based on what the mother said, it is quite obvious that the mother probably gave up. The mother was burned out by her actions. It was quite obvious that the mother wasn't keeping on top of things like she should have. She probably did not know the extent of the depression that this young lady was going through. So therefore, she kind of turned her back. I'm not going to say she turned her back. She just was not forceful. She just was not within seeing what was going on within this girl's life. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So therefore, she should be held partially responsible for not paying attention, not being more assertive. If she's guilty of anything, and I don't want to bash anybody when they are down, stepping on their head. So therefore, that is not my intention to be insensitive. But me just as say, she was not as assertive as she should have been. Now, when you look at the condition of the house, how this girl lived, and the fact that when you look at her, persons that are models are usually slim. However, when you look at this girl's facial structure, you could tell that she was not eating. You could tell that she was not as healthy as she should have looked. There was not really a glow. You could look at her and tell that she was kind of depressed. She was kind of not feeding herself. She was kind of not taking care of herself, her mental health, her physical health. So therefore, she was deteriorating mentally and also physically. And based on the fact that most things did not work out for her as it pertains to her modeling, as it pertains to her job in which she quit, as it pertains to her YouTube channel, as it pertains to even getting desperate to open an OnlyFans or fans only page, that too did not work out. If you cannot sell PUMS or mouth or sell any sorts of SEX, it tells you that you're in a dire strait or desperate situation. So in other words, if you don't have the temperament, the mindsets, lack of morals and ethics, such as the likes of an Ivan, more than likely that is going to be your competitor. So therefore, if you just think because of your pretty face and you're not going to skin out and do all of these extreme stuff, more than likely you're not going to make it on platforms like those. So I say this to say that most persons looking at her, even though she was crying out, would say to themselves, but look at this uptown girl that seems as if she is entitled. She have more going for her than the average Jamaican out there. So therefore, persons are not going to take her very serious. Persons are going to think that she's just weak, not very strong-minded, and is calling out, feeling as if she's entitled. So therefore, that is probably why she did not get the help. And the other thing, like I've said before in a previous video that I did, A lot of these uptown persons, they tell themselves that all is going well. And even if you're not doing too well, you're not going to do it because of shame, because you know that your cumblers or your friends might shun you. So people, this is a very sad situation, being that this girl actually took it and took it to the furthest extent, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news, I have long come to the conclusion that Jamaica is not a place for the average Joe or Jane. If you're not rich, if you're not a politician, if you're not a police, if you're not somebody of significance in a Jamaica, you will not get any sort of justice, no matter what the circumstances is or are. And I am going to give you a perfect example. On December 2024, a vehicle illegal taxi Subaru was driving with some students from Lennon High. That vehicle was speeding, was chased by the police. It then hit into a vehicle, a Probox to be specific. A couple of those children were badly hurt, almost lose their life. Two of them lost their life, Jadine Lodge and Richard Tulloch, 12-year-old, both students of Lennon High School. That vehicle was driven by a man known as Wint. Wint did not have any registration, did not have any insurance, did not have any sorts of paperwork for that vehicle, so therefore illegal taxi. After that incident, the school, the police, the fire brigade was scrambling to take these children to the hospital to save their life-saving surgery. Two of them eventually, the two that I mentioned, did not make it. Well, people, a year or so later, less than a year or so later, that case went to court and Mr. Wind pleaded guilty early. And he was sentenced. He was sentenced to 2 years if you do not pay $2.4 million to those two students that lost their life. The judge in the case, based on what he said, the fact that this man pled guilty and the family said that they wanted compensation for the DEATH of their children. Now, people, I don't know about you, but if this was me and my child died, I would not want any sort of money. I would more want that person to get the maximum time that is allowed by the law. I would not try to influence his sentence, meaning that he is going to stay out of jail once he can afford to pay that $2.4 million. If you do the mathematics, it is $1.2 million per person, per child that lost their life, that is going to the family. So based on what the judge, Justice Chester, said at the sentencing, the family agreed to compensation, meaning financial. Now people, like me say, $2.4 million. $1 million Jamaican is about $6 to $7 thousand. So therefore, we are speaking about monkey money. Based on the severity of exactly what this man did, took away a couple of children and badly injured a whole bunch of persons, causing chaos and catastrophe, the life of these families to be changed forever. I am going to let you listen to what the mother of Mr. Toller said. He was 12 at the time he met his demise, and then I am going to give my piece.
Well, I'm kind of happy come to a closure, yes. But you know, I still feel sad and still depressed of everything that is going through me. You know, I miss my son seeing where everything, but when I look in a room, I'm not in a room no more. I not see him come from school. When I see the kids them go out in the early morning, him not part of them. Yeah, it's stressing still, you know, me I tell you. Me now get over this thing now still. I tell you. My best friend and me everything that.
Now, people, when we think about the fact that this man was an illegal taxi, the fact that him take with the people in Pitney, and the fact that he then ran away from the scene of the crime. He then tried to jump on a jet plane at Norman Manley International Airport. However, he was intercepted before he was able to leave. He was taken to court. He was officially arrested and charged, and then he plea bargained early. And then the judge is going to give this man 2 years. The lawyer is actually going to convince the judge to give this man an out of jail sentence, money, or 2 years. You know that he is going to find the money wherever he can find it from. In my opinion, based on what is going on in Jamaica, the climate in Jamaica, these judges in a lot of these criminal cases, in a lot of these incompetent cases, meaning that crashes that cause person to lose their life unnecessarily. The judges seems as if they are playing some sort of sympathy party. They are being more than lenient. And like you've heard me said on several occasions, it seems as if these defense lawyers have these judges in their pocket. Are there some sorts of body club, some sorts of cult, some sorts of something that is going on that make these judges make these decisions when they are determining how much time somebody is to be sentenced to? Obviously, the punishment does not fit the crime. In this case, it is a perfect example. Point blank and period.